Hi everyone, it's another edition of Weather for Weather Geeks here on the 10th day of November. We had a nice day today, sunshine all day, sent temperatures back up above average. Our forecast today was 59, we fell just too short of that, 57 this afternoon, and we've gotten the train back on the track a little bit this week after a rough start to November. A lot of days overachieved in this warm weather pattern, but we've clued in a little better over the last few days, so we're on a 3-day winning streak of accuracy. I've pointed this out a couple of times today. It's remarkable how quiet the weather is across the country. This evening, clear skies from coast to coast with a couple of exceptions. Down along the Gulf Coast, a couple of showers. Houston down to Galveston, heading down towards Brownsville and out towards El Paso in western Texas. A couple of showers, but that's about it. These showers up here are with the cold front that's heading our way tomorrow. Not really expecting many showers with this, but there could be a spritz or a sprinkle or a shower, especially before lunchtime tomorrow. This front rolls through and the wind will kick up and it's going to be a chillier day. It's going to be kind of like it was yesterday. Clouds, brisk winds, cooler temperatures, but I think the sun will try to break out as we go deeper into the afternoon. It's not going to help our temperatures, though. Tomorrow's one of those days where temperatures probably hit their peak pretty early in the day, maybe 11, noon, and then start gliding back. All right, quiet weekend coming up. Sprawling area of high pressure. Big Blue H gives us sunshine Saturday. And not a cloud in the sky on Sunday. Should be a beautiful end to the weekend. All right, I've been remarking lately on the pattern just not favoring much cold. All the cold's on the other side of the pole, across into Eurasia, into Siberia, and it's just having a hard time getting across the pole and coming into North America. And one of the reasons for this is this roaring Pacific jet stream, which just has dominated the weather pattern for a while now. This thing on Saturday is ripping across the Pacific Ocean, almost due east, west to east, I should say, and that is a jet stream configuration that is not conducive to bringing cold down into the eastern U.S. It makes it hard. What you need is a much wavier jet stream, a weaker jet stream, and it would be nice, if you want cold anyway in the east, to see a big ridge popping up over here near the west coast. But just isn't going to happen in the next week or so. This thing is just ripping across the Pacific, very strong, and as long as this thing is in place, it's going to be hard to get sustained cold. Chilly shot here and there, kind of like we're going to have tomorrow and into Saturday, but, you know, we're going to have a hard time getting it cold until this pattern breaks. Again, I've been commenting on our winter forecast put out a week ago. Today, the idea of a chillier than average December may be in some trouble. If we don't break this pattern soon enough, early December could be pretty darn warm, just like November. All right, back here in the medium range, one thing of note here, the models are cluing in on a pretty decent storm crossing the Great Lakes next weekend. Details way too far away, but this is the European model for what it's worth next Sunday, the 20th. So this is 10 days out. But the overall idea is that there'll be a storm somewhere around here. I don't think it's going to be a big deal for most of us, but it could bring down some chilly air for a couple of days, and if everything lines up right, there could be some lake effect snow with this. This is next weekend, last weekend before Thanksgiving. And the modeling is, while the details are still to be worked out, the overall idea is shown on most of the modeling here, including the climate models. Here's the temperature outlook for days 10 to 15. So in other words, next Sunday through about Thanksgiving. Notice there's not a big ball of blue anywhere, but it does show some cooler temperatures trying to show up here in the east, while it's still a blowtorch out here. So anyway, the bottom line is I think there's a pretty good chance that we see some chilly weather in the run-up to Thanksgiving. Certainly not brutal cold, but in this pattern it's hard to get brutal cold. One of the things that I've been looking at is years that have similar setups to this year, what happened those winters. If you watch my winter forecast, I had a list of what I called analog years, the years which most closely resemble this year in terms of what's going on in the oceans and the atmosphere. One year that was not on my list is the winter of 98-99. It was not on the list because there's too many differences as far as what's going on in other parts of the oceans, but the one big similarity is the winter of 98-99 was the winter after a really strong El Nino, 97-98. This year is another winter following another very strong record El Nino. What happened the following winter after that record strong one? Well, in this case, in 98-99, it was a warm winter. This was a moderate La Nina winter. We're not expecting a moderate La Nina this year. Weak one at best. But it is interesting to see what happened after a really strong El Nino and then into a La Nina. The winter was warm, just like the previous winter in the El Nino. Will this happen this year? It's possible. Don't want to rule it out. That's not what our current forecast has, but I think we're going to be making some revisions to the winter forecast before December 1st. But again, it's interesting to look back at this stuff. Now, there was another strong El Nino 82-83. The winter of 83-84 was not like this. And that winter is on our analog list. The winter of 83-84 is actually a chillier than average winter here in Youngstown. So there's variation. Just because there was a strong El Nino followed by a La Nina doesn't mean every winter with that scenario is like this. But do want to start putting this as a possibility on the table that we could have kind of a repeat of 98-99 in the worst case scenario for my forecast. Since my forecast does not look like this, this would be a worst case scenario, but I can't rule it out. All right, that's it for Weather Geeks. So hope you have a great rest of this Thursday. See my forecast tonight, 21 News at 11, and tomorrow as well. I will catch you then.